classy, quiet, and obedient. Such traits that describe a well-trained dog, but they too encapsulate the expectational characteristics placed upon the Elizabethan woman. With the puppets controlled by the ventriloquist of the male society, patriarchy was the prevailing norm. William Shakespeare's play, Much Ado About Nothing, in addition to David Nicholls' 2005 film adaptation, ShakespeaRe-told, both cater to the necessity of dynamic storytelling so audiences garner a deeper and more thorough understanding not only of their respective time, but of different eras too. Both utilize storytelling to take audiences and readers on a journey to demonstrate how these narratives shape the overall world. Though both works present the result of malleability in, for example, the character's personality, their otherwise corresponding scene setbacks, or even the storyline itself, they moreover reflect the shifts in context, values, and attitudes from one society to the other. Hello Year 11, my name is Janice, and in this tutorial I'm going to be exploring how femininity is portrayed as a multifaceted concept, as well as how the entrenched expectations of gender roles restricted true personal identities. And even on a greater scheme, how both concepts underscore the grave importance of the need of both compelling works in order to evolve as a society. Within a society where women were often seen and not heard, Shakespeare dabbles from the conservative/traditional to a very progressive portrayal of femininity. A striking example, I'm sure we can all agree on, is Beatrice, the notable niece of Leonardo and close cousin to Hero. In Act 1, Scene 1, audiences are immediately introduced to the witty and strong-willed demeanor. She banters with Benedict, highlighted by her biting sarcasm. I wonder that you will still be talking, Signor Benedict. Nobody marks you, which in the strict Elizabethan era would have been deemed as punishable. Yet, through Beatrice, Shakespeare challenges the stern patriarchal rules of quiet and obedient femininity, which, quite rudely, appeals as a comedic entertainment. Undaunting femininity was considered laughable, and Shakespeare utilizes it to provoke deeper understanding of the limitations imposed on strict femininity of the Elizabethan time. In stark contrast, Hero embodies the ideal Elizabethan woman who was silenced into submission. Claudia and Hero were destined to marry, the perfect brave and noble man and the perfect obedient wife. However, Don John stages a deception for Claudia and Don Pedro into believing that Hero performed infidelity. Claudio, due to his gullibility, believes such lies and ironically states on the day of the wedding, "She is but the sign and semblance of her honor. Behold how like a maid she blushes here." Shakespeare initially wants to lead audiences to believe that Hero is concealing her unfaithfulness and inherently evilness as a woman under a veil of manipulative, conforming femininity, but because of his dramatic irony, audiences are aware of her innocence. Hero, characterized by her minimal responses and dialogue with less than 50 lines in the whole play, silently endures her unjust accusations. Shakespeare's powerful storytelling otherwise presents the injustices of his time. His juxtaposition of portrayals of femininity through Beatrice and Hero provide critique of existing female standards. I personally believe he's subtly advocating for a more progressive view that allows contemporary audiences to connect with his historical context, which I feel really shows the evolution of us women. Returning to our modern day and age, femininity is socially respected and even uplifted within all different shapes and sizes. David Nicholls' reimagined Much Ado About Nothing showcases a rather contrasting setting of Shakespeare's Much Ado. Within a TV broadcasting corporate, women like Beatrice and Hero could express themselves openly without the creep of critique and backlash from modern audiences. This is highlighted from the tracking shot following Beatrice circling around Benedict, sharply retorting to him with again her biting sarcasm.
Translators run off with the sound equipment.
I'm amazed you're still talking, Benedict. Nobody's listening to you.
Beatrice!
These corresponding scenes, though portrayals of both Beatrices are at most similar, truly highlight the shift in context, as in Much Ado, audiences would be appalled and moved to mockery at such daring expressionism, where so, modern audiences would barely bat an eye, reflecting the modern values of female assertiveness. However, despite the progress, Hero in all contemporary glory is illustrated as the stereotypical dumb blonde. Even as a weather forecaster, she showcases minimal knowledge within her expertise that further exemplifies how her beauty overpowers intellect.
Can you tell?
I just read the meteorological reports. Meteorological, I have real problems with that word.
Meteorological.
Nicholls effectively mirrors Shakespeare's Hero and recreates similar imposed Elizabethan ideologies of femininity. This, Year 11, raises the ultimate question. Has the context really evolved in Nicholls' film? The stay-at-home wife, the cleaner, the cook. Such roles that define the entrenched expectations of women, shaping gender roles regardless of context. In Shakespeare's Much Ado About Nothing, these expectations are clearly reflected in the character's behavior and response to oppression. Hero embodies the ideal Elizabethan woman, silent, obedient, and submissive. But when confronted and publicly shamed by Claudio at their wedding, her father Leonardo is quick to believe the unbelievable. He hyperbolizes her sentencing. O fate, take not away thy heavy hand. Death is the fairest cover for a shame that may be wished for. A woman's honor was tied to family honor, and Shakespeare emphasizes the injustices faced by the woman in his time. Moreover, Beatrice, with personality ablaze and unaccepting of inequality, lashes out at the difficult conundrum. Though outspoken, her actions were limited in hopes of proving Hero's innocence, as revenge was a man's job and she didn't hold the power or agency. She lectures Benedict, "Oh, that I were a man for his sake, or that I had any friend would be a man for any sake." Shakespeare's powerful storytelling reveals the discriminatory expectations placed on women, particularly through the dramatic irony that allows audiences to perceive the authentic personalities and desires of women like Beatrice and Hero beyond their strict gender roles. This invites modern audiences to reflect on the enduring nature of these gender expectations and furthermore, the impact on women's identities. Imagine stepping into a bustling corporate office where the hum of conversations, the tapping of keyboards, and the glow of computer screens create a work-efficient atmosphere where even within that space, men and women work side by side, their roles and responsibilities intertwined. Even so, in Shakespeare's Much Ado, Hero is basically forced to comply into a marriage with Claudio, but Nichols paints a new happily ever after in his new adaptation. She, instead of being sent from father to another man, is given the right and what would have been a privilege in the Elizabethan era to marry whomever she desires. She confronts Don of his dominating and creeping nature of claiming her as his own wife through a dialogue match cut, perfectly highlighting the growing disappointment on Don's face.
I'm sorry.
You can't force someone to love you, Don.
You can't force them not to either.
Nichols exemplifies the lift of weight of women in a world full of still moderately patriarchal rules. He utilizes Beatrice to present the definition of woman who doesn't blindly follow along with the corrupt system. She is quick to react to misogynistic remarks made on the concept of women and their expectant roles as housewives by stating, "We're called women now." This displays the shift in context where Nichols sheds light on Elizabethan audiences' perception of women, furthermore revealing how gender roles restricted women's true personal identities. By presenting a contemporary and modern view, Nichols invites the audience to reflect on the evolution of societal attitudes towards gender roles. That brings it to the end of my tutorial Year 11. We've explored how Shakespeare's storytelling connected audiences of his time, whether it be through exploring the many representations and versions of femininity to the hardened gender roles that restricted true personal identities. In addition, David Nichols' adaptation builds upon a more modern view of femininity and gender roles. He showcases the shift in context that brings audiences to appreciate and acknowledge the change in attitudes, values, and of course, the context again. Hopefully, you've learned one or two things about the grave importance of both texts. Thanks for watching.